The way I start anytime that I speak anywhere is I take a couple of minutes to be quiet and sort of try to center myself. And I ask God to speak through me, to use the parts of my story and my message that somebody may need to hear. And then it's not up to me.
I've heard it through the grapevine. Welcome. It's the AA Grapevine Half-Hour Variety Hour, featuring the collected voices of Alcoholics Anonymous. I'm Don, an alcoholic in Greensboro, North Carolina.
You sure are. Hi, Don. Hey, everybody, I'm Sam, an alcoholic in Palm Springs, California.
You sure are.
In Palm Springs.
Yeah, you sure are in Palm Springs. Sam, I got this daily quote email feed that I get from the Grapevine. I really like this one. It's from the story Balancing Act from our book, Spiritual Awakenings. Emotional balance is very much like balancing on a bicycle. It's more a matter of what I don't do than what I do. Sam, you're distracting. Watch someone balance on a bike. It looks as if it would be difficult, but in fact, it's a mindless and effortless achievement. Happiness, joy, and freedom are the same thing, aren't they?
Once you learn balance.
Once you learn balance, yeah. When I'm struggling to let go, I haven't learned how to let go yet, Let go? How?
Well, let's go back to the bicycle. How'd you learn to ride a bicycle? No. Did somebody hold the seat and walk along beside you or something like that?
At first, yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. And then it was that crazy moment when they let go and you didn't know they'd let go and you were doing it. That's kind of like sponsorship, working with a sponsor in the early days, right?
You can't let go by letting go harder.
And yet you frequently say, I'm letting go just as hard as I can.
Yeah, that's why I say that.
Oh, man.
How do I let go is a question that I asked in a discussion meeting one time.
Oh, so you mean that asking newcomer questions in meetings actually helps people and can make for a really good meeting?
It can.
And we're going to be answering a Newcomer Asks question later on today with our guest.
Well, I like those newcomers questions that we have gotten to the Ask It basket.
Hey, Don, would you like to know who today's guest is?
Who's today's guest, Sam?
Today's guest is David S. from Apex, North Carolina. Hi, folks. We need your stories on the individual traditions. Pick one and write about your or your group's experience with it. How has a tradition played a part in your life? How has your understanding of a tradition changed? What is a personal experience where a tradition played a part? Visit aagrapevine.org for guidelines and to submit.
So my name is David. My sobriety date is May 15th, 1986, but we may need to talk about that a little bit more. My home group, I actually have two because if one is good, two is better. So my home groups there is a solution group in Cary that meets on Tuesday and Thursday nights at 7:00. And then the Arch to Freedom group, which meets on Monday night in Apex at 6:00.
So if one is good, then two is better. I think you might be an alcoholic.
You would think.
Oh, man. David, okay, so you got sober in the 80s, the 1900s.
Yeah, I got sober last century. And I actually got sober in New York City. My life up to that point was just a giant skid mark that ended the day I walked into AA. I moved to New York City in August of 1985. But I say moved sort of generally because what I really did was wake up from a blackout in New York City.
Mm.
Okay.
On the floor of the Newark airport, as it happens. And so I caught the bus into New York City and checked into the YMCA, and I live in New York now.
You hadn't been there already?
No,
It wasn't a plan, or it wasn't a plan that sober David had. It was a plan that drunk David had.
it was not a plan that I remember making. Let's put it that way.
How did you get into AA?
I had gone to a concert with a friend of mine. Looking back, I can't understand why she put up with me. I was miserable. And we were riding the bus up Broadway one afternoon, and we got to 86th Street, and she said, I'm getting off here. I'm going to a meeting. You want to come? And I did not know what a meeting was. I didn't know what AA was. I had no idea what she was talking about, but I didn't want to be by myself. I was really miserable. And I said, sure. And we got off at 86th and Broadway, and we walked about a half block down 86th Street to a church. And I'm like, oh, no. If I go in here, I'm going to burst into flames. This is not going to be pretty. We went in, we went down to the basement, and she sat me in a chair, and somebody brought me a half a cup of coffee, being smart, and a stack of cookies. And somebody spoke. I don't remember anything of that. And then we all stood up, and everybody held hands to say the prayer at the end. And they tried to hold my hands. And my exact words were, don't touch me. I don't
bleepity bleep
know you. Sorry for the bomb there. And because I didn't. And I went and stood at the back of the room by the door waiting for my friend. And these two cute girls came up and said, hey, how you doing? And I was like, it's been a rough day. Was kind of understating things a little bit. And they said, we understand how that is. Keep coming back. And it had been years since anybody had said to come back someplace. I was always being shown the door, sometimes forcefully. And so that was on a Sunday night. And I went home that night, and my friend called me and said, are you drinking? And I said, no. And you could hear the ice clinking in my glass. And I did the same thing Monday night. I got absolutely out of my mind both Sunday night and Monday night. And Tuesday morning, I called her and I said, are there any more of those meetings? She said, as a matter of fact, there is. 87th and Broadway, 7:00. Why don't you meet me? It's the West End group.
Well, so what was going on inside of you that was like going, this meeting where they're trying to touch me, that I want to go back?
I can't explain that. I have that is a God moment. I cannot explain that. I don't know how that happened or why that happened, because I don't know what that meeting was. I don't remember anything about it except for people told me to come back. And so we went, and I consider that really my first meeting because I actually remember it. And I remember the guy that spoke, and he told my story, and it hit me like a ton of bricks.
That happens, doesn't it?
That night I stuck my hand up and I said, my name's David and I'm an alcoholic. Oddly enough, I have not had a drink since. So I was really sick. When I came in, I'm 5'9". And when I walked into that meeting, I weighed 114 pounds. Wow. And there was this group of about 4 guys. They were stuck to me. They took me to meetings all day, from meeting to meeting, took me out to eat between meetings. They were like always with me. And I couldn't figure out why. I'm still friends with all of those guys today, except for one, and that's because he passed away.
I don't know if that's a rare thing, but it feels like that's a rare thing.
I don't know, but I went back to West End on my 5th anniversary. I had moved out of New York by then, and I went back to New York, and I went to that meeting on my 5th anniversary, and I spoke. And I told this story of these guys that followed me everywhere, and they were all there. And they came up to me afterwards and they said, do you know why we followed you everywhere? And I said, I have no idea, because I was mean. I was angry. I was awful. They said, because we had never seen anybody come in just off the streets as sick as you were. And we wanted somebody to be there when you had seizures.
Oh, wow.
I didn't have seizures, but they were convinced I would. You can tell it still affects me.
Yeah, my glasses are hiding it, but you got my eyes tearing up here.
They saved my life, and they didn't know who I was, except that I was this complete raving lunatic in the meetings.
I had the same experience. Now, when I came in, I figured that these guys followed me everywhere. around and invited me everywhere because I was so enthusiastic about AA.
Oh, I knew that wasn't it.
Yeah, right. But for me, it was like I've just felt that the generosity of all the people in AA when you walk in is astounding. And I had never experienced anything like that before I came into AA.
And that's really why the responsibility statement hits me really hard, and it always has.
And what is that statement?
That is, when anyone anywhere reaches out for help, I want the hand of AA always to be there. And for that, I am responsible.
Yeah. So how does that play out in your recovery?
So we were actually just talking about this in my home group on Thursday night about being of service. And I said something that probably a lot of people didn't appreciate, but I don't consider being of service only being of service to those in the rooms, right? I ask in my morning prayer every day, not to show me how to be of service, but to help me recognize the opportunities for service, because they're out there every single day, all over the place. It's not just in meetings, it is everywhere. You know, the cashier at the grocery store looks like he's having a rough day, and something as simple as a compliment on his shirt brightens up, and that to me is service.
That's what I was thinking when you were talking. It was like be a walking big book. I mean,
I used to think that AA was there to help me get better and to like be a better person. That is not the goal in any of the literature that I have come across and that I have read. There's only one goal that I have come across. That is for me to be of service. And how can I be better of service to my fellow man? That's the lesson in all of this.
That's the way out of self-pity of all things.
Yeah.
Right.
Is there a moment in your recovery that was a particular challenge? And this is throughout all these years. Is there a time that shows up, just comes right to mind of like, wow, that was tough?
You know, this year has been probably the most challenging year in my sobriety. And I decided on January 1st, I said, I'm going to do 90 meetings in 90 days.
Okay.
So I did 90 meetings in 90 days earlier this year. And I started doing something else. I have this notebook that I now take to meetings, all my meetings, and I take notes. I write stuff down that other people say, and I write stuff down that what other people say triggers in me. And I got to say, you guys, I repeat a lot of the stuff that you guys say in meetings. You know, I think I sent in heard in a meeting that was, you know, did you really have a bad day, or did you have a bad 5 minutes and stretch it out for the whole day?
Yeah.
But the one I use from you guys all the time is the best barometer of my spiritual condition is other people's driving.
Oh, yeah.
That's true.
Those two, when my sponsor said the first one to me, I was like, give him the bird. Like, no, you just ruined every bad day that I can ever have from now on, because now I'm going to ask myself that question. And the answer is always, nope, I'm just stretching out 5 minutes to enjoy it.
Sir, how dare you ruin my self-pity?
And now I either have to like adjust my spiritual condition, or I can't drive, because every time I get ready to yell at somebody in traffic, I remember, oh God, this is a barometer of my spiritual condition.
That's what it is. The check engine light has come on. And it's like, if I'm reacting like that, something is going wrong with the system.
And just a reminder to you and everyone else that anything you hear in AA, once you say it 3 times, you can claim it as your own.
Well, I don't claim any of this wisdom. I freely admit that I have gotten this from other people, because that's what this program is other people giving me wisdom.
It is. And we're storytellers. That's how we connect with each other.
A guy I met when I was 1 year sober, we were going to school. We were going to the same school. And he said, something you said to me when I was like a year sober, I have lived on that for my entire sobriety.
All right, so you got to give it up. What is it?
We were both going through really bad breakups. And apparently I said to him, you're going through this now so that you can be there for somebody else and share this experience with them when they're going through it. And so you can look at it as a really bad thing now, or you can look at it as you are getting some wisdom now that you will be able to help somebody else with later.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah,
how our experience can help others.
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
That's the way it's built.
Right.
That's it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now it's time for A Newcomer Asks.
Folks, we need more Newcomer Asks questions. Help us out. Why not get your meeting after the meeting group to make a list and send them to us? Send them to podcast@aagrapevine.org. And this question came to us from just such a list. The question is, and I remember this from my very early days.
Yes.
What if I run into someone I know?
Uh-oh.
It's not just possible, it is likely that at some point going to meetings, you will run into somebody that you know. The thing about that is you're both here for the same reason, and you are hopefully both practicing anonymity.
Well, that's what the anonymity is there for.
And the nice part about it is that now you've seen somebody that you know from the outside world in a meeting. So the chances that you're going to see them at a function or something outside of a meeting is really high, right? Mm-hmm. And you'll have an ally there,
yes.
Right? That actually reminds me of my favorite thing when I was early sobriety. People are always trying to get you to drink. Oh, come on, you'll be fine. Have a drink, right? And I started saying, no, thanks. I've had enough.
They don't know when you had enough.
Yeah.
It's true. I had more than my share, but also if you're pretty much anybody is like, oh, they know they've had enough. I'm not going to push it, right? It's like, oh, you know your limits. No, I don't, but I reached it.
It was shocking to me how many people I knew were in AA.
Isn't it amazing that all these alcoholics know each other?
Yeah, right? It's like, I don't know how it happened. I walked into my second meeting, and this guy goes, well, Don M., what are you doing here? And then he got into this conversation with me, and I realized after the fact he was doing step one with me. It's like, what are you doing here, Don?
Oh, yeah.
I have a problem. He pulled it out of it. I can't quit drinking, and I need help. And
when I was living in New York, I went to meetings all the time because it was the only way I could stay even remotely sane. And a friend of mine came to visit me from California, and we're walking down the street, and no matter where we went, people would walk by and say, hey, David, how you doing? I'm
yes.
oh, hey, Don, oh, hey, Bill. And finally she looks at me and she goes, how do you know everybody in New York City?
Right. I love it.
There's one other aspect to this question that could be read in another way. What if I run into someone I know outside of a meeting that I know in AA? What do I do then, Sam?
Especially if there's other people around.
This happened to me recently. I ran into a friend that I have in AA at a coffee shop sitting with someone. What do? Do I go up and say, hi, I saw you in the meeting last night? Or, of course, that's not what I do.
What I have done in those situations is, it depends on whether or not I've spoken with that person before, if we've got, if we're friendly or not. But if someone that is not in recovery is with me and asks me a question like, how do you know each other?
Mm-hmm.
My go-to answer has been for years, we run in the same circles.
That's easy enough.
Yeah, something that easy. I wanted to throw something else in on this conversation, and that is for the newcomer or the person who's just wondering if this is the thing for them. And there's a fear of running into someone in a meeting who might not be an alcoholic. Make sure you go to a closed meeting, because sometimes there will be medical students or other visitors, parents or spouses or something at an open meeting of Alcoholics Anonymous. An open meeting means that anyone who has a curiosity about AA can come to the meeting. But a closed meeting is for people who have a desire to stop drinking.
To put it in plain and simple language, I always think of a closed meeting as a private meeting and an open meeting as a public meeting.
Well, I do appreciate that at least all of the meetings that I go to and have gone to for years say at the end that statement of remember that, our anonymity, who you see here, what you hear here, when you leave here, let it stay here.
Hear, hear.
And that applies to everyone, right?
Yes.
So you may not be an alcoholic and you may come to this meeting, but you're still not allowed to tell people who you saw. And I actually took somebody last night who is not an alcoholic, never been to an AA meeting. I took them to an open AA meeting so that they could sort of see what it's like. And the basket came around and they were like digging for their wallet. And I was like, nope, you can't.
Yep.
Why not? It's like, I want to support. And I was like, you can't. You are not a member of Alcoholics Anonymous, and we do not accept outside contributions. And since you are not a member, that's an outside contribution. It's not allowed.
But thank you for wanting to.
I did. I said, thank you. I appreciate your wanting to. Yeah. We appreciate the support, but we cannot take your contribution.
Yeah.
Well, David, you will be able to contribute after this. Thanks so much for being on the Grapevine half-hour variety hour. We're going to now pass the basket.
Holding the QR code up to the screen now.
Which you can only support by subscribing to the Grapevine.
We would really appreciate you subscribing to the Grapevine, folks, and especially in the app. It's so easy, just $2.99 a month, and that's $2.99.
It is so great. And I heard something on this podcast that is just the most brilliantly evil thing of somebody said, whenever I get a new sponsee, I buy them a subscription to the Grapevine because even if they don't stay sober, it shows up at their house every month for a year.
That's right.
That's brilliant.
You did go. Remember you went to a meeting that time. David, thank you.
Indeed. Thanks so much,
Thank
David.
you.
Hi, everybody. My name's Nikki O, and I'm passionate about the Carry the Message project. The Carry the Message project is a great way to gift a meeting in print to people behind the walls and in treatment facilities and other places. And it also supports the Grapevine because the Grapevine is not able to accept contributions. So if you want to purchase a Carry the Message Project gift certificate, you can go online to our website at aagrapevine.org, and it's there. It's also in the magazine that you get every month. One of the great things that my area in Maine has done, at every voting assembly, our Grapevine chairperson says, I'd like to give this many subscriptions to the Carry the Message Project, and Area 28's given well over 150 subscriptions in the last year. My home group also does the same thing. Join the challenge. Beat Area 28 in Carry the Message subscription gift certificates. You can help.
$3 a month? Come on.
Do you and your friends use the Grapevine app? It's a portal into the world of the Grapevine. The app is provided at no cost, but you get the most out of it by subscribing today.
App development is all about adding features and squashing bugs. If you haven't opened the app in a while or you uninstalled it, check it out again. Subscribing to the app supports everything we do.
We provide the podcast, the YouTube channel, our Instagram account, both the Grapevine magazine and La Viña, and all the Grapevine books and literature. The app is free to download in your phone's app store and has great content and features provided at no cost to you.
If you want to help us reach out to other alcoholics, subscribe for $2.99 a month. You'll support all things Grapevine, including this podcast.
Wow!
I'm at the very wit's end.
At a year sober, my sponsor volunteered me to represent our group at an intergroup meeting in a nearby city. I arrived to find the area packed. Turns out Oktoberfest was staging across the street. Parade folks were drinking and using our clubhouse bathroom. Just before the meeting, a guy in a fast food uniform burst in, carrying a band uniform. Flustered, he said,
I just came in to change.
Come right on in, son. That's what we're all here for.
It's really not that funny. Thanks for joining us. The AA Grapevine Half-Hour Variety Hour is posted every Monday and is produced by AA Grapevine, Inc. We don't speak for AA as a whole. We share the experience, strength, and hope of members to help others recover from alcoholism. All things Grapevine are available at aagrapevine.org, including our app and how to get in touch with us. Find us on Instagram and YouTube. If you want to know more about AA, visit aa.org or search online for Alcoholics Anonymous and your city.